I want to welcome you today to Annual Impact Weekend. We are so glad that you're with us here at South Bay Church. This is a massive weekend for us because this is the very first time that we are joining together with our brand new campus, the South San Jose location, launching in February of 2016. So that launch team is gathered there today, and I want to say we are so glad to have you with us. You are so vital to the vision that God has given us. So we're joined together with the South San Jose location, everybody at Sunnyvale, we're glad you're with us, and of course, North San Jose. It's cool to think that there are 3 live locations, and then there are so many people that are joining us online, all together uniting around one common vision. You know, when Jesus was here on planet Earth, he made a very powerful statement. He said, "Let your light shine before men, that they might see your good deeds and praise your Father who is in heaven." See, Jesus was concerned with his followers, wanting to show their lives in such a way that their good deeds would bring glory to God. And when God finds a church that is willing to leverage their resources, to leverage their talents for goodness here in our community and ultimately our world, God blesses that. And so the Annual Impact Weekend really is all about us using what God has given to us to make a difference in our world. You know, so often it's easy for churches to get focused on themselves, to get focused on what's happening in their buildings. But the Annual Impact Offering is a reminder for us that it's not just about us, it's about our community, it's about our world, it's about everyone experiencing the difference that God has made in our lives. So today we're going to go through 5 big initiatives that we have planned for next year. Really, this is an opportunity to roll out future vision. And you're going to hear about these initiatives, but what I want you to listen for is I first of all want you to listen for how you can be praying for our church, how you can pray for what's coming up, how you can pray about your involvement, and praying that God would bless each of these major projects that we believe He's leading us to take on. The second thing I would like for you to think through is how you can be a part financially. Because between now and the end of the year, we're going to ask the people of South Bay to give above and beyond their regular giving towards these 5 initiatives. These are God-sized goals, God-sized projects that aren't going to happen without us sacrificing and being willing to do our part. And then thirdly, the third component is going. And I want you to listen for how God might lead you to be a part, not just through praying, not just through giving, but going and using your gifts and talents with these special projects that God has called us to.
Every year, South Bay Church touches the lives of thousands of people in our cities. We do this practically by extending God's love in a whole host of different ways. We've done this through Easter egg hunts. We hosted 2 Easter egg hunts, one in Santa Clara, one in Sunnyvale, where thousands of people came out and had a whole lot of fun and had a chance to be served by our church community. We've also done that through the Oktoberfest down in Mountain View. We've beautified multiple schools in our community. We've helped to continue fighting human trafficking through our partnerships with Freedom House and with Freedom Summit. This year, we are so excited to announce the launch of a new initiative in 2016. We are launching what we're calling Foster the Bay. Foster the Bay is a coalition of churches right here in Silicon Valley that are committed to providing a loving home for every child in the foster system. We believe that the best way to see a transformed Bay Area tomorrow is to care for abused and neglected children today. The Annual Impact Offering will enable Foster the Bay to inspire and to equip churches to raise up foster families. Here's a more in-depth look at what Foster the Bay is all about.
Imagine you're sitting on a park bench like this and it begins to rain. And it's not just a small drizzle, it begins to really pour. You've come prepared, so you open your umbrella. And as you're doing so, a 10-year-old comes and sits next to you. There's a few awkward moments and pretty soon she's drenched. What would you do? You know, there's nothing heroic or out of the ordinary about this. Common decency says, share your umbrella. Now, what if you could shield a child from more than water? From the droplets of instability or the storm of poverty? How is it that so many care, but so few act? Life around the Bay is full. People are busy with business, comfortable with ease. It's not hard to be blind to the need because it's not right in front of us. But what if? What if what is could be seen? What if our ability to help was already in our hand? What if we could share in the very heart of God for people in the rain?
The crisis is here. The reality is that right here in our backyard, there are hundreds of children in the rain, cold and wet. The foster care system in Santa Clara County has an immediate need for families who are willing to open up their home to children who have been abused and neglected. Those children need a loving, stable, secure home and a hope for the future. The crisis is now. The long-term effects of children who are never placed in a loving, stable home are tragic. Up to 33% of foster youth who age out of the system become homeless. Foster youth are 43% less likely than the general population to earn a high school diploma, and only 3% earn a college degree. In 2013, 60% of child sex trafficking victims were children from foster care. Not sharing is not an option. Consider the resources in Silicon Valley. It's not just about more money, ingenuity, technology, or education. This human crisis needs human resources, you and me.
Foster the Bay is a coalition of churches committed to providing a loving home for every child. It's our dream to reverse the scenario within the foster system. We believe that it's possible one day to see a waiting list of loving, resourced families rather than a waiting list of children in need of homes. And when that happens, not only will we be meeting an immediate need, we'll be taking a huge step towards transforming our very community. Caring for vulnerable children is a powerful step towards stopping the cycle of brokenness and addressing issues like homelessness and drug abuse and teen pregnancy and prostitution and human trafficking. If we want to see a transformed Bay Area tomorrow, then we need to care for abused and neglected children today. And we believe that the church has a unique role to play in all of this. After all, who knows better than us what it is to be lost and then found? The truth is, we were all broken. We were all hurting. We were all without a home, and God in His love entered into the storm and made a way for us to be adopted as sons and daughters. He made a way for us to enter into His family, and now it's our turn to bear that family resemblance. It's our turn to enter into the storm and to take what God has placed into our hands and to share it with the vulnerable.
We believe there's a church for every child. What would it look like if each church sheltered one? It would be costly as the family that shares their umbrella begins to get wet. But it would allow for other families to come and support them. Best of all, it would end the wait for children and let the healing begin. This is possible with this simple formula. If every church were to raise up at least one foster family with a care community of 3 to 4 support friends. It's time for the church to begin to be known as the place where neglected and abused children become beloved sons and daughters. It's time to share your umbrella.
God has blessed us in order that we might be a blessing. What has God put into your hands that you're being called to share in order to bless our city? For some of you, you're being called to pray. I want to encourage you to pray for the impact that we're going to be able to have on our city here in 2016. For some of you, you're being called to give. I want to encourage you, give above and beyond your normal tithe in order that we might make a lasting, transformative impact on the Bay Area this next year. And for some of you, you're being called to do more, to get involved. If you're interested in getting involved in any of our efforts right here in our city, or maybe you're being called to get involved in Foster the Bay, and maybe you want to be a foster family, maybe you're interested in being a part of that care community of support friends, indicate that on your flyer.
This year, we were able to continue deepening some of our international partnerships. We sent teams to Nicaragua, where we partnered with Forward Edge Ministries, and we began to serve kids that were rescued from situations where they were at risk to be human trafficked. At that place, they are able to be cared for now, they have housing for them, and there's education being provided for those children because of that partnership. We were also able to start funding missionaries that are on the ground in places around the world that are very unreached with the message message of Jesus, places like Southeast Asia. We were also able to continue to deepen our relationship with Nazareth Emmanuel United Church in Ethiopia, where hundreds of South Bay families right now sponsor kids that are in a compassion project hosted in this local church that we partner with. Because of that partnership, these kids are now being educated, they have health care, and they're being spiritually nourished with the partnership of this local church. Through this year's annual impact offering, we're going to be able to do something really, really cool. It's personal to me as well, because we are starting a church in the north part of Brazil, which is where I'm from. And through this partnership, we're able to literally not only start a church, but also through a partnership with Compassion International, we're going to start rescuing more and more kids out of poverty in this community. Through that partnership, we already were able to see over 100 of these kids be sponsored this Father's Day this previous year through South Bay families. And so I can't wait to see what's going to continue to happen as we provide more funding for the projects to expand in this community, as we send teams to serve this local church, and as we sponsor this new church planter to reach a brand new area in this community in north of Brazil. I'll never forget the moments that I had when I actually got to meet some of the kids that I personally sponsor through Compassion International in a very similar situation to this one that we're starting in Brazil. The first time this happened, I was in Dominican Republic. There's a little boy called Josiel that my family now has been sponsoring for over 10 years. And I remember going in this village and this little boy running to my wife and I with our pictures in his hands and our letters that we had written to him over the previous several months. And he came and he looked up at us, and with almost tears in his eyes, we were definitely crying. He said, "Felipe, Mandy," and we hugged him, and he took us into his home where his parents thanked us with tears for our partnership in blessing their family. That's the kind of impact we're going to be able to see not only in Brazil, but in different places around the world where we're currently able to send teams and sponsor these partnerships with local churches. So here's how you can help. First of all, you can pray with us. Pray that God will open new doors of ministry around the world for us. And then pray for our Brazil partnership as this church planter works really hard to reach people, as the Compassion Project grows and more kids participate in that project and are released from poverty. You can also participate by giving. When you give to the annual impact offering this year, you're going to be able to fund with us these new facilities needed to be able to provide the right place for education, healthcare, and spiritual nourishment of these kids. And then lastly, you can act on it. You can sponsor a kid through Compassion International. You can also participate in one of our international mission trips this coming year and watch God use your life to change the world.
You know, one of the things that has been central in the DNA of South Bay ever since the beginning is helping start new churches, which is called church planting. And the reason that this is in our DNA is because we believe that the local church is the hope of the world, because it's the local church that is taking Jesus out into the streets of the community. And over the past 7 years, we have had the privilege and the opportunity of partnering with and supporting 11 church plants here in the Bay Area and across the country. And this year, we're excited to announce to you as a church that through the annual impact offering, we're able to support number 12, Story City Church, which is going to be planted in Burbank, California by Matt and Laura Lawson. Now, some of you may have been to Burbank before, and you know that Burbank is the media capital of the world. See, there are companies there like the Disney Company, Warner Brothers Studios, ABC Studios, even Marvel. I mean, hello, any Marvel fans at our campuses today? And you even have all these media companies here. And you know what is so unique about this area is that this is an area known for notable stories, where there are stories that come out in movies and films and books and go all across the country and the world. And Matt and Laura have a dream. They have a dream of taking an even bigger story here to Burbank, and it's the story of the gospel, that Jesus would come to rescue all who put their faith in Him so they might have a brand new story. And we're excited that through the annual impact offering, we're going to be able to support them, to help them get started, because they've got a team and they're ready to serve their city and they're ready to reach them. So let's take a look to learn just a little bit more about Story City Church.
Los Angeles is a city that's so vast, it's so diverse, it's so uniquely different, yet such an influential city. And the thing that strikes me as I stand up here and overlook the city is that the gospel transcends all of it. It's powerful, it's transformative.
This city has so much impact on our nation. When you stop to think about the entertainment industry and the impact that it has, it's almost like Athens in the first century. You know, Paul was concerned. In fact, the Bible says when he went to Athens, his spirit was stirred on the inside. And that's how I feel when I walk the streets of LA. This city has an impact on the world. And if the gospel had an impact on this city, it could change the world.
We can make an exponential difference. It could be the greatest difference we've ever made in our ministry, certainly in church planting.
There's definitely a harvest field here in LA. Christianity grew so strong in the 70s and 80s, and I think that kids rebelled from their parents, and there's entire generations that's growing up without even knowing God because they didn't have to go to church like we did. And so I think they're hungry for truth. They're hungry for someone to come alongside them and say, this is what truth is, this is who God truly is, and engage them with that truth.
It's an opportunity to touch the largest city I've ever worked in my life. Take Los Angeles, then compare it with New York City. There's just a little change between the two. 19 million people here. I've heard the greater New York, 20 million. Just as much as Haiti would be the poorest nation, this would be the largest city. This place is twice as large as our state in just the city. And so the lostness is vast. And so if we want to make a significant difference, make a long-term commitment, not a greater place than Los Angeles.
Pastor Johnny told me a while back in his office, he said, you know, when the stirrings of Antioch are louder than the comfort of home in Jerusalem, you know God's doing something. And God's been stirring in our heart. And we feel very confidently and clearly that God is placing us in the city of Los Angeles for this time and this reason, for the story of God, for the city of LA.
Now, we can all be part of helping with church planting here at South Bay. And there's 3 ways that we can do this. The first one is that you can pray. You know, we have a dream as a church that there would be a life-giving local church within 15 minutes of every neighborhood here in the Bay Area. And so the way that you can pray is specifically praying for God to raise up church planters and teams to come together to help start these churches all across the Bay Area. Another way that you can pray is you can pray for Story City Church and Matt and Laura Lawson as they get ready to start this brand new church in Burbank, California. Another way that you can help with church planting is that you can give. You know, your generosity to the annual impact offering is going to help Matt and Laura and Story City Church get the equipment they need, have the resources they need so that they can get out and effectively reach their community. But then the other way that you can be involved is going. You know, we are able to send teams to go to some of these brand new church plants to help them get started on their preview services and different events that'll help them get out and reach their community. And there's a flyer inside your program that has more information about some of these trips that you can be a part of going on.
I'm very excited to tell you about the brand new online campus that we are going to be launching next year in 2016. I don't have to convince you here in Silicon Valley of the power of technology. So many of you that are working at these companies that are transforming the world, the devices that are being sent from here all over the world, the internet access, the apps for phones that are coming from the San Francisco Bay Area. So think of the power of leveraging that same technology that you're creating for good with the love of Jesus so that people's lives can be transformed and they can experience relationship with God. That's what Church Online does. It crosses a lot of barriers that exist in people's hearts and minds. One of the barriers is the barrier of busyness. But in addition to that is the barrier that oftentimes people are afraid to go into a church building. I was standing at Pete's Coffee a couple of months ago, and this lady walks up to me and she said, "Hey, are you one of the pastors at South Bay Church?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm on staff there." And she said, "Well, hey, I've been joining online. I got a mailer. I wasn't ready to come through the doors of a church building. In fact, I don't go to church, but I've been watching online and my life is being changed as a result." So with very little effort, we're seeing people's lives be changed. We're seeing about 250 people come and join us every single week, but we want to take it to a whole new level. And so the giving and generosity through the annual impact offering, what it will do is it will allow us to improve the experience. We'll be able to upgrade our technology so that both with music and teaching, the experience is better, but also we'll leverage the resources to market to the community, the online experience. We'll also be able to create a forum where people can come and discuss and chat online, and relationships can form. We're looking to host life groups online. So all of what you're going to do is going to help us leverage technology to reach and impact more people. So I want to ask you to really begin to prayerfully consider how God would have you be involved with this. First of all, let's pray that God would give us a successful launch to this brand new campus for our church. Secondly, let's pray that God would use this experience to reach people who would never come through the doors of our church buildings in our community. And then finally, as you give generously, God's going to use your resources to help us make an impact. But finally, I want to encourage you, there are so many different ways that you can be involved with Church Online. You can be one of the life group hosts. You can be one of the people that chats online live during the services and prays for people. And there are so many opportunities. In addition to the technology side of it, is all the ministry that's going to be happening. And just think of the power of this. There are going to be people who start attending church online. They're going to take that first step. Then they're going to get involved in local community, go through the doors of a church building, and be fully integrated into the life of a local church. And then there are going to be some people that are remote, that are apart from a local church. Maybe it's somewhere else in the Bay Area. Maybe it's somewhere else in our country or our world, and there's not access to a strong local church presence physically. They're going to find community online, and as a result of that, their lives are going to be changed. So I'm so excited to see what God's going to do, and I want to encourage you. You can make a huge impact through your partnership with the annual impact offering towards the launch of this brand new online campus.
One of our key strategies for reaching the Bay Area is by starting campuses all over the Bay Area. Last year, we were able to invest together into starting the Sunnyvale campus, which is now thriving and growing. This year, we have an opportunity to be able to start a brand new campus in South San Jose. We're doing this because we understand that people are more likely to be impacted, to grow in friendships, to build community if they are attending a church near to where they live. So here's a deeper look into what that could look like.
Many of you have already heard the news that we're going to be launching a brand new campus in South San Jose in 2016. And I am standing on site at Southside Community Center in South San Jose, where there are tens of thousands of people moving into this community, hundreds of thousands of people disconnected from relationship with Jesus. And what's most exciting about this endeavor is that we get to do it in conjunction with Twin Oaks Church. In fact, earlier this year, Philip Pattison and the Twin Oaks leadership team approached South Bay and said, hey, what would it look like for us to work together to start a campus, to become one church, to merge together and work in this community to reach people who've never experienced the love of Jesus. And so I'm excited to introduce to you Philip, who will be the campus pastor of the South San Jose South Bay Church location.
Yeah, we are so excited to be a part of the South Bay Church family. There are literally thousands of men, women, and children all over these neighborhoods surrounding this community center that have yet to hear the message of Jesus Christ. And by linking arms now officially with South Bay Church, we believe that we've positioned ourselves to reach them most effectively. And the work has already begun. There's already many of you who have said, yes, I want to be a part of what God is doing at the new South San Jose campus. And we're praying that more and more of you would jump on board, get on the team, and be a part of this new venture. I want to encourage all of you to mark your calendars for our first preview service on December 24th, our Christmas Eve services at 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. If you live in the South San Jose area, plan on being here and being a part of that really special day. And then we'll be gearing up towards our public launch on 2016. You're not going to want to miss it.
Your generous giving to the annual impact offering will provide the necessary resources for us together to partner with Twin Oaks to launch this brand new location. And I believe God is going to use us together, our generosity, our serving, our faithfulness to make a difference. And many lives are going to see the love of Jesus and be transformed as a result of what he does through you.